I am excited because today on the show we have my buddy and serial entrepreneur. This is a guy that I have known of for a long time. His name is Will Matthiessen, and it's kind of weird to talk like he's not here because he's right in front of me drinking a cup of coffee. But Will is a guy that I heard a lot from. We have a lot of mutual clients, and his name kept popping up. And it's like, I don't know, a little, if it's okay for me to say this, like a little bit of like under the radar type, like the like a mastermind kind of thing. It was kind of the vibe I got from him. Just really knowledgeable, really interesting way of looking at business strategy, scaling, everything from the tech side to marketing. And then finally we were introduced and we hit it off. And yeah, we've been really getting to know one another. We've been sharing our deepest, darkest secrets with each other, which has been no, not really, but we. But it's been fun to learn from Will and to really get to know him a little bit more about what he's up to. And I'm like, hey, why don't we just record one of these because it'd be really valuable. And that's my mindset is like, how can I add more value to you as you're listening here. So we'll talk more about what you're up to, but first off. I just want to express my deepest gratitude for having you on here. Time is valuable, and you could be anywhere, but you're sitting here in the podcast studio talking with me all the way here in Nashville, Tennessee. Super excited that you made the trek here.
Absolutely. Much appreciated and looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
That was a weird intro. A couple of lies in there.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not, we're, yeah, yeah. We're not live, and we never shared any deep dark secrets. But we have. I think we have shared some stuff, right? We've shared a little bit of things with each other about like what our
For sure.
aspirations are and things like that. So hey, why don't you start by telling us a little bit? I thought it was super interesting. The first time we met, you shared the story of how I don't know. I'm in like an exaggerating mood. I was going to say you shared the story of how you made like $17 billion by the time you were 7 years old. But you'll tell the story about how the serial entrepreneurship started. You did start very young, which I thought was super interesting.
Yeah. So very, very long story short. And by the way, starting with lies. So um, let's build trust right off the bat.
Yeah.
When I was 13, 14 years old, I was a pro gamer. This is in 2005-ish, 5, 6. And long story short, I played a bunch of video games back then and was like top 10 player in the world kind of thing for those games,
Wow.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got together with some buddies and said, hey, so a lot of people want to know this information of how we got here. Why don't we start coaching people in gaming? And by the way, this is before esports, this is before
Wow.
twitch.tv, this is before anything like that, right? There was no money in it. I mean, now most games are sponsored by Coke and Dell and all these large brands, right? But back in the day, there was no money in it. I mean, literally, my dad would drive me to these competitions that were all over the U.S. and the prize money was for winning first place, and 50 or 100 people in these competitions, in these tournaments. The prize money was less than the gas to get there, so there was no money in it whatsoever, and
Yeah.
so but the point is that there was no money in it,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore there was an opportunity to enable other people that were at the top of their game within whatever game they were in to make money by coaching others. And so we started a company, simply put, that created content for people that were gamers on how to be a better gamer, basically. And then we would sell a membership or a monthly fee to have access to these videos that every few months would update for whatever game it was. And so that's how we paid the coaches for their videos, or rather, the coaches meaning the gamers, right? We paid those gamers to produce that content, and then we sold a recurring subscription to get access to those. And at the top of that, we had about 14,000 people paying $8 to $12 a month,
Mm-hmm.
basically. So yeah, and
That's how it started.
I started that. Sorry, I went a little bit forward there. Started that when I was 15, sold that when I was 19.
Okay, wow. So yeah, so by the time you were 19, you had a lot of experience building a business, selling it, and I'm sure that's actually, I'm curious. I don't want to just assume that. I'm assuming how much has that experience informed you in later businesses?
A lot. So if you wrap it all up to date, which is what, April 24th, 2026, right? I've
Mm-hmm.
been in business for 18 some years, give or take. So I'm in early 30s now. Having sold three separate businesses, started and then sold them, right? Some of those with business partners, some of those without business partners. And so learned a lot. It's interesting looking back. It's like it was all part of the plan, right? It
Yeah.
just very seamlessly flowed from opportunity to opportunity.
Yeah.
But in reality, it was just this is such a generic way to put it, but it was finding a pain point, as in game. In the case of the first company, it was gamers can't make money doing this, but it actually, you have to literally put more out to make any money.
Yeah.
And they're spending 16 hours a day, full addiction mode, right? Playing these games online, and I was one of them for many many years. And any prospect of grades or school and all that kind of went to the side because you're the pro gaming guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, they were just in a holding pattern in life, right? And then they went and got a real job and went and did something else, where we just want to give an avenue. But the whole point is that there was not an opportunity, there was a need, and it's as simple as just filling the need and then
Yeah.
finding the people that want to buy it. So don't just sell something people need and will pay for on a recurring basis, which is why I eventually got into the gym and opened the gym, and then just went through all that from there.
Yeah.
So
Now, the couple of things come up for me behind that. What I can relate in one way. In one way, I can relate heavily. In another way, I can't relate at all. And the way I can relate is last night, I was in my kitchen and I was preparing some food for today, and I'm getting my stuff ready. And my daughter, my 10-year-old daughter, out of nowhere, she says, "Dad, are you in your dream job?" I was like, thought that was like such an interesting question, and I said, I said, honestly, yes. I said, I really enjoy what I do, and I'm really thankful for it. And I said, yeah, I did the gym owner thing for a really long time, and now things are very different. So there's different seasons, and you want to enjoy all of them. And I said, yeah, but I'm really really excited about where I am. So then my other daughter, who's 14, she said, Dad, do you kind of wish that you would have just done what you're doing now, like from the start or earlier? And she doesn't obviously understand all the things we're talking about, but I'm like, no, like that's all part of the plan. And I guess the encouragement for the listener is maybe you're in a point where you're at the mountaintop and things are great. Yeah, enjoy that, because you never know what's gonna come. Not in a dark way, but you just never know. But if things are maybe feeling a little quiet for you, or you maybe are in a spot where it's tough, that's really the time where things are happening that maybe you don't see, things that are going to show up later. Because I think, based on your example and just based on my example, there are things that are happening in the moment. You never know how they're going to serve you later. Maybe that's a challenge you're overcoming that you could teach other people. You're a young kid, like learning how to be a really good gamer, and you probably didn't think in that moment, like, yeah, one day I'm going to sell a business for a significant sum based on what I'm doing now. So I'm assuming you would agree with that encouragement, and I know it wasn't always downhill for you, so to speak. I'm sure there were bumps and bruises along the
oh
way.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot when it comes to, because now majority of my time is spent in helping out and coaching business owners that are in fitness industry, because I was in fitness industry for so long,
Yeah,
having a top 10 agency in the U.S., running ads on lots of different platforms, building websites, hundreds of
yeah,
clients, hundreds of things, right, every
hmm
single month. The
yeah,
events, the speaking on stage, all the stuff, right?
yeah,
That a lot of people, when things work out, they look at, well, that they're different, right? I'm not different at all. Or like, you're lucky and all this crap. It's like, no,
yeah.
you create your own luck.
That had nothing
But
to do with it.
yeah, no, not at all. And I think that alongside that, alongside that, it's really just deciding, are the actions I'm taking today moving me forward or not?
That's
And if
good.
they are, doing more of them. What I find, at least with the businesses that again I work with now, in the past it was a lot of single location, right, single
Hmm.
operators, what have you, and that's again how that agency was built. right? How we scaled up and really took it to the next level in that way. But over time, I identified that it's really more so the habits of what they're focusing on every day that makes the biggest difference. And often, and I'll get into an example here when it comes to
That's
Facebook
good.
ads, because again, we
Yeah.
ran millions of dollars in Facebook ads over the years. And things have kind of shifted a little bit in that
Yeah.
area for all that. But I'll give the quick example that if all your time is focused on creating social media content, let's say like that, because of course, spoken to a ton, literally thousands of coaches over the years, right? Coaches online and mostly brick and mortar, right? But as technology and social media has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, of course, over the past decade, and really become an important part of it, a lot of the generic advice from the guru types, let's say, is like, oh, go post on social media, do it 3 times a day, or even 5 times a week, or whatever the recommended is. There is a minimum dose that is
Yeah.
effective with that.
Hmm.
But if, for instance, they're putting all their time into that and they're not running ads and their website's kind of a dog and like there's all
Yeah.
these little other things that are wrong, if you're not growing and you're putting your full focus and your full effort into something, it's not that you need to do it differently. It's probably you're just paddling in the wrong direction, truth be
Yeah.
told.
Yeah.
And that's where, again, that's why I like conversations like this. Is it's not about giving you more to do, right? It's all
Yeah.
about just what to focus on that actually creates the impact. And that for me, it's like I'm a stats guy, I'm a numbers guy. Billy, you're a numbers
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it's got to drive.
Man, there's so much to get into here. I'll just throw my 2 cents in there, and that the I know I'm not a gym owner any longer, but the less time I spent on social media, the better my business has done. And the reason for that is because I'm spending more time connecting with actual humans, which I
Yeah.
believe is something that a gym owner should be doing as well. Again, doesn't mean you shouldn't be on social media. You have to be on. But yeah, if that's like your top priority, like, yeah, what'd you do today? Yeah, well, I made a post. It's like, no, you would have been 10 times better if you had gone to coffee with a prospect or some other thing where you're actually moving things forward on that. The way that I mentioned I could relate and not relate, the way I couldn't relate, which is really interesting to me. Everybody's wired differently, but you have seemed to build things quickly and then sort of shift when maybe you had another passion or you saw another need or another hole. That to me is interesting. There is a question here, and the question is, I'm assuming, and I want to know if this is
Sure.
right, that even when you did like a shorter term play, like whatever that means, right? You probably were pretty focused on that thing, right? Because you might see a guy like you and like, oh, he's done this, like different industries, and it's like I couldn't picture myself doing that because it seems very chaotic. But I'm assuming for you, when you were doing it, you were actually laser focused on the thing that you were actually trying to build,
Oh
or
yeah,
maybe
no,
not.
I've
Yeah.
never had more than one thing going on at the same time.
Hmm.
It is. I'll relate it to the fitness industry in the best way I can think. So, of course, you've got adult fitness, right? Small group, large group, blah blah blah. Of course, probably should do some small group. It's pretty good,
Yeah.
but kind of helped with a book on that.
Hmm.
But you can do a lot of things. You can try a lot of gyms will have sports performance, right? They'll have a little bit of athletes, a little and a lot of bit of adults. They'll be 50-50. There'll be a sports performance gym that got shiny thing fitness, right, as we call it, and said like, okay, cool. Now I'm going to have adults because I have athletes now, which by the way, not bad advice always, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
But if that facility that only did athletes just accepted that you're going to have cyclical issues with cash flow because of churn and seasonality with athletes, and accepted that that is what my model is operating under, and then decided to be the absolute best
Yeah.
experience to then get parents in and then start effectively building that program only on parents, but have a system and a model.
Hmm.
I'm going to use the word model a lot because most people are just doing stuff. This is an actual
Yeah.
model. If you execute a model of athletes only, for instance, and you are world class and 30% of the time or 25% of the time, every time you bring in a new athlete, you get the parent in for 2 weeks free, you get XYZ. That's a model and that's a process
Hmm.
versus just kind of doing both for fun, not as well. Not only with that, and again, I'm expounding upon this thought because that's how my brain works. Not only that, but when it comes to serving two different populations and marketing two different messaging structures, right? When it comes to ads, when it comes to emails, when it comes to the operations of serving them, right, within the gym, or even the type of coaching they need service wise. By the way, you can tell I ran a facility that owned a facility that did both. It creates operational complexities where if you just a lot of people have grass is greener when it comes to their model, and I'm sure that some people listening will be like, "Damn it, I'm doing both." Right? It's two perspectives. Yes, I'm good at. I need to keep focusing, or damn it, I'm doing both. There's not a right or wrong way to do anything, but if they would have just stuck and focused, to your point, on one individual thing, one individual service, and made it world class, you get more referrals. It'd be a lot easier to acquire new clients or new athletes or what have you, depending on your model. So to that point, yes, long story long, focus is the only currency. And I have no idea who said that, but I like the quote.
No, it's good. It reminds me of the idea that complexity doesn't scale, and it's also the thought that success is boring, and there's no way around it. Like if you want to be successful, you have to stick with something for a long time. I know that's relative, but you have to stick with something for a period of time, we'll say, because sticking with it for that period of time, whatever you call that, is the only thing that is going to give you enough reps so that you can gain the awareness of what's working, what's not working. And you hit it right on the head when you said about a model, whether you call it a model or system or process. It's that you're just doing random things. There's really no way to tell. Even something like sales, like there's no sales system, there's no sales process. So how can you possibly know what's working? And you're like, oh, my sales aren't working, or I need more leads. It's like, no, you need to do the same freaking thing for at least 30, 60 days without any changes, and then you can start telling me, okay, this didn't work or this worked. But other than that, there's no way to do it. And just embracing that concept, it's going to be boring.
So let me give you a quick example of that came to mind with a client that's got four locations in London. Okay. And like I said, typically the client that I help now is that multi-location, 4 to 5 locations, and they want to go 4 to 50. And like, that's what I do. The opening new gyms with the agency, we helped open 150 some locations here in the US and abroad. We had clients globally, but again, that was, and we really got good at opening new gyms, right? And the whole concept was, long story short, the whole concept is how can we take 3 months prior to opening the doors and open it up at 30K day one a month? And so everyone's paid, everyone's good, you're profitable on day one of that business. And then we did that 150 times and got known for it. Anyway, so I had this client in London, and most people say that are on a podcast or a consultant or what have you, say that you need a lot of different ways to generate business, right? You need 4 or 5 different ways to generate consistent leads, right? To then come into the business. And by the way, that's what I subscribed to for a while. But when I dug into and started working with over the past 6 years total, but more so focused in selling the agency about 12 months ago, and working with these higher level operators that are really, really having an impact, and they're very, very profitable businesses, that's so far from the truth as having 4 or 5 different ways to generate leads, generate business. I literally have a client, and I'll give you 2 examples here that kind of personify the effect. So all he does is put $16,000 a month into Facebook ads. That's all that he does. It's website and then $16,000 a month into Facebook ads. From that 16 grand, right? He will typically on that first month generate 45 to 50,000 across those facilities in new revenue, in the trials, the 6 week, the whatever, right? To most people's definition, 6 weeks played out, I don't do challenges anymore, all that kind of stuff. He is doing that play at a scale of 4 facilities that are all of them are 7-figure, doing 7 figures independently and very profitable. His entire focus and entire play is just a 6-week challenge that then converts into a long-term membership. Yeah. Try to flip it into 12 months, put the 6 months towards the 12 months. Everything that people have been saying for years. They're like, oh, it's played out. It's not played out. He's just doing it at another level. Okay. Yeah. Another client, and I got some stuff. I want to give you this other example. Yeah. So another client, she runs, it's 2 locations. She runs women only 50 plus. Mm-hmm. Her only strategy, the only thing she's doing to run these very profitable, they were doing about 700-800 a piece, right? The only thing that she does is run Google ads to website. Okay. Personal trainer, when someone searches personal trainer to me, women's only fitness, stuff like that, it goes to the website, they opt in, whatever. She closes 45% from website lead. 45% of the time they come in and spend money, right? And then she runs workshops every 3 weeks. In person. Who's running workshops anymore? Yeah. What is it, the 90s, right? What are we doing here, right? Legitimately, all she's doing is running Google ads to people that already want her stuff and then running workshops every 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great example, and they're doing something consistently enough to see the pattern recognition that it's working, and it doesn't matter what 27 different gurus say, this is working, and you do what's working, but you don't know that if you don't run a consistent play for long enough to see. Yes. Really good example.
Yeah, that guy's been running Facebook ads 16,000 a month for 5 years. Mm-hmm. It's not a quarterly play. It is his entire acquisition engine. Mm-hmm.
Another sort of, I'll call it a concept that I think is worth discussing is there's so many changes happening out there, and being able to stay on top of those. I mean, there's the common sense approach. It's like, maybe for your facility, those types of ads are not working anymore. So now we need to do something different. Mm-hmm. But you've shifted approaches based on what's happening out there in the marketplace. You're really looking at data. So we could talk about a couple of things here. One would be the actual data that you and I have talked a little bit about, but also just even like a mindset or some kind of framework of like, I'm so caught up in the weeds of what I'm doing. Like, how do I even know, I don't know, like what's happening or what's coming next? Like, how do I stay on top of some of this stuff?
Yeah, well, I will, before I kind of go into the marketing stats side of things, which hopefully not many people will fall asleep as I'm going through the numbers of it. But I like money math. So money math is fine. You can stay awake for money math. Oh, yeah. So I will say that a lot, part of the coaching and part of the focus and a few programs that I've ran in the past 6 months have been around AI, right? Because I'm using AI heavily in my own business as well as helping these guys that, again, are operating at a higher scale of that, 5 to 10 facilities, what have you. How do we implement AI into the day-to-day to make their team more efficient? How do they, for their own personal productivity, get better at doing certain things? How do we eliminate roles, for instance, that AI can take over? And all this, it's funny. A lot of people are saying like, "Oh, in a few years we'll be there." No, bro, we're already there. Like it is, the game is already over. It is not a bubble. This is already happening. There are companies that are letting go of thousands of people and replacing them with AI agents that don't sleep. So like that's already happening. The nice thing is the fitness industry is one of the only havens that isn't going to be impacted as much with AI, which is great. But that gives the advantage of how do I apply it. So why do I say that? A lot of the people that I speak to, a lot of people on the email list or what have you, they're just trying to like understand the AI thing. Mm-hmm. More than not, they're doing the things that don't actually make any money. It's just creating a lot of fake work, frankly. Right? They're getting dopamine. They're loving the learning on the AI stuff, but they're not applying any of it. And so there's not much of a return on that, right, in that way. And I'll give you the one thing that when I take on a client or what have you, the first thing that I do, is audit what they are currently doing when it comes to a marketing perspective. Where is the money actually coming from? And when I say that, this is how I use AI to analyze that for a client and then give them clarity. All you do, okay. So a lot of people use CRM called Go High Level, right? A lot of gyms. It's probably 80% of gyms in the US use this software, right? And if it's not called High Level to you, it's probably whatever your agency provides.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, you're probably using Go High Level without even realizing it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And so when someone comes into that system, it tracks where they came from. Where your website was, it someone from an ad, a Facebook ad, a Google ad, whatever it is, right? And usually that information is stored, but you're not really actioning on it. You're not like you're not understanding where it's coming from, or you see it, but you're not looking at a large enough information set to make a call, right? And so my first action is doing this one thing. And by the way, I'm sure I've got an SOP on this stuff. So just like if someone's got questions, they can just reach out to me at will@ridgemont.ai, by the way. Just FYI.
Yeah. Good.
Anyway,
Put that in the show notes.
yeah, it's all good. And I'll just send you the SOP. It's real simple. It's not complicated. You basically you export. I'm talking spreadsheets for a second, so everybody brace yourself. You go to your MindBody, your Zim Planner, your whatever you use, your Anomaly, whatever. You go to that software and you do an entire export of every transaction that has ever occurred in your business. I don't care if it's 15 years or it's 1 year. You export all the information every single time any person's card has been dinged. I don't care for a water. I don't care for a membership. I don't care. And you get this. It'll probably be tens of thousands of rows in this spreadsheet. It's a big one, right? And then you go over to your Go High Level, your CRM, wherever your contacts come into, right? That would tell you where they came from. So if it's a website lead or paid social lead, social media, what have you, Facebook ads, Google ads, whatever. And you go and tell AI, hey, can you analyze this and do what's called a ROAS analysis? It's return on ad spend analysis. I know a lot of you probably are spending money on ads in some way, right? And even if you're not, this is still useful. And then it will print out this little report that says, okay, you spent this much money, right? Let's say you're spending $1,000 a month on ads, or $3,000 on ads, or no money on ads, but just from your website. And it'll show you year over year how much you have made from that source of leads. What this does is bring extreme transparency to what's working and what's not.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie. True numbers don't lie.
And they don't lie. They don't. And let me give you some stats that blew me away. At this point, over the past 8 months, I've analyzed 190 some facilities across like all the clients and all the stuff. So 190 some, right? And most of these businesses are doing over 750,000 a year, right? These are not like small businesses, so it's a lot of data, right? And so I put it into my big old AI brain, right? And so it keeps kind of a tally on all these stats because I really wanted to see what was going on. So here are the stats that really just blew me away. So the first one that is so obvious, but it's interesting, is that the lifetime value of a website went on Google, find your website, opt in.
Yeah.
The lifetime value is 2.7 times more from a website lead versus a lead that came in through social media, right? So if that lead came in and the Facebook lead spent $1,000 over a few months, 4 or 5 months of being with you, that same person, but they came in through website, spent 3,000 and stayed 3 times as long, or even the same amount of time. They just spent more money, right? Very simple, because it was their decision to come in.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
You're not disrupting them, right? So that's the first point. Go ahead. I know you got some. I can see you kind of.
Yeah. So it was just interesting because I don't know that we had that data when we were running our facilities, but I do know even like intuitively, it was like when a website lead came in, you're like, oh yeah, like this is going to be a good one, and it makes sense, right? It's more intentional, it's more proactive, and those were I felt it, yeah. So there was something behind that.
Yeah. Let me give you another stat that's even scarier. The aggregate close rate Okay, so the total close rate across all, and we're talking about tens of millions in ad spend across this. I mean, truly, right? Because if you think about it, 200 some facilities spending $1,000 a month, or 3,000 or 5,000 a month. I mean, it's a lot of cash, right? Spent. That's why I think, like, I don't think anyone else can speak to this. I don't think anyone else is doing these numbers. I truly don't think so, or has the patience, I guess, to. So the aggregate close rate, total close rate from social media lead from ad to spending money is 4.6%. Okay. What that means is, give or take, that 1 out of 20 Facebook leads that's generated comes in and spends money. Okay. That's the average. By the way, the numbers I'm giving you are 2025. In 2023, it was a lot better. In 2024, it was a lot better.
it's getting
In
worse.
2025, it started to kind of go down. And in 2026, it's slaughter. There's blood everywhere.
That sounds even optimistic. I just even, just thinking through like how
Yeah.
things are looking for most clubs.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that I can run through real quick, and then it will be the end of the number section. So in 2023, the average return on ad spend. So you put $1 into the Facebook machine, right? And how many dollars come back? And I'm saying from the lead being generated from the ad all the way to spending money in your door, and then how much money spent. Not the first transaction, but all the money that person spends with you, membership wise, recurring or otherwise, right? In 2023, the average was 11.7x. Okay. So that means that you put $1 in, and in 2023, you generated $11.70, which is a hell of a return. Like everyone should have spent so much more money in 2023,
Yeah.
right? In 2024, that went from that 11x down to 6. So you put $1 in 2024, you got 6 back. Also, the best investment anyone could ever make,
Yeah.
right? In 2025, it really jumped off a cliff. And the average is 0.87.
Wow.
So that means you put $1 in, you lost 13 cents on the dollar in 2025, right? The numbers don't lie, right? And the thing is I'm giving you the average. There's some people that are still doing 3 or 4x. They're
like
it's
the guy
not.
you talked about.
Yeah, these are not exactly the guy I talked about is 4x on the
Crushing it.
absolute
Yeah.
front end. Like it's
There's
working.
People, and then there's people that have 100 leads and getting $0 because everything is messed up. They have terrible Google reviews or just whatever reasons.
Right.
Yeah. It just reminds me, there's something called a cycle, and that's what it is. It's a cycle. Nothing will last forever. I've been in this long enough. I remember, what was it? Groupon. We sold 467 Groupons in one day. And then all of a sudden, it was not the same, and then you have the Facebook ads, and you have all these things that come and they go, and you got to pay attention to these cycles. Will, this is really valuable information in the effort to respect your time and to respect our listener time. We're definitely gonna have to bring you back if we can get you back on here. We would love to do that, but I want to make sure you share one more time the contact info and or people to maybe follow you, stay in touch, whatever they need to do to get in touch. They want maybe access to that report that you talked about or any help there.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It's so funny. I've always, as you mentioned, like I've always been kind of the guy behind the guy kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now I'm the guy behind the guys, as in all the clients with all the locations, right? And so honestly, for the report of the SOP and all that stuff, literally just reach out to Will at Ridgemont.ai. And that's my new kind of AI engineering company. It's a whole thing. You can go to the website if you want to check it out. There's a little course on there as well. But honestly, just email me. Like it's a lot easier, and then I can get that over to you on how to run that analysis to get that clarity, so you actually know what's working. And I'll just email you back with it. It's that easy.
Awesome. Yeah, I encourage you to do that. Why not? It's going to give you some clarity, help you make better decisions. Everything you're doing now is based on where you want to go, right? You have a goal, you have a target that you're chasing, and one of the worst things you can do is do the things that are going to get you somewhere where you don't want to be, right? And if you're basing it on false data or even just guessing, you're not going to guess your way to your highest potential or the success that you want. So I definitely encourage you to take advantage of that. Will, thank you so much for being on. Can't wait to have you back. I have a few questions that I ask most guests or all the guests. I'm going to save those questions to make sure I get you back here. And yeah, look forward to continuing this awesome discussion.
Cool, Billy. I'll see you next time.